How you doing, everybody? Tim here once again. View from the SouthStands coming to you late Sunday after TFC's abject performance in the heat in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania today, or in Harristown, New Jersey, wherever it is. It's outside of Philly. Anyway, against the Philadelphia Union, the Reds lose 3-0. Not going to talk very much about the game today because I don't think there's very much to be said about the game today that hasn't already been said, other than the fact that the reason why this team is struggling, putting aside Aaron Vinter and the coaching early on, this is just simply not a very good team. They don't have a lot of depth past the starting 11. And you could make a case that some of the guys in the starting 11 maybe shouldn't be in the starting 11, but that's another story for another day. The third game in a row on 3 days rest. So they play twice last week. They play today. And they travel, of course. They play in Texas in the heat. They're in Philly in the heat. They had the game before last week as well, in the heat as well. 100-degree temperatures, traveling on the road. And you don't think that anybody on your bench, including, by the way, Julian de Guzman, who I think, until he's been out in the last couple of games, has been arguably TFC's most consistent player in the last couple of months in this somewhat, well, relatively speaking, resurgence that we've seen under Paul Mariner vis-a-vis what we saw at the beginning of the season. But when you don't do any squad rotation because you simply don't think that anybody on the bench is better than any of your starting 11 guys that looked absolutely gassed today, I think that speaks more than anything else to the lack of quality on this team. And I'm really hoping that the beginning, or the new beginning, or the recontinuation of the process of making this team better. And Lord knows we've been through a ton of these over the last 5-6 years, haven't we? Let's hope that the process of improving the squad actually starts in earnest right now, because the transfer window is open. Training camps are going to be opening up in Europe very soon, South America as well. Let's hope that they can find some ways of improving the team in the at least in the short term. We've got a game on Wednesday against Vancouver at BMO Field, and I'm quite concerned after what I saw today. I think the Richard Eckersley at center back experiment probably is going to come to an end. I've actually thought that at times he's looked okay, but today him and Logan Emery did not look good today at all. They were out of position, they were sloppy, they were leggy, they just did not look to be of an MLS quality defense. They had their moments in the last few weeks, but I don't think long term that collectively those two guys are going to be the answer. The other thing I want to talk about, I'm going to keep this one short and sweet because it's getting kind of depressing talking about these losses and trying to find something positive. There isn't a lot of positive to take from today, other than the fact that they're coming home and hopefully some home cooking and being motivated to play a Canadian rival might actually see them play a little better on Wednesday. Let's hope so. I've got my mom in from Newfoundland and she's going to the game on Wednesday. So I want to give her a show for her first TFC game, hopefully a Reds victory. But the one thing that really struck me today was a comment that Jason DeVos of TSN fame, and of course Canadian International fame as well, shouldn't forget, actually tweeted something at the end of the game, how he was kind of blown away by how little conversation about the game, good, bad, indifferent, but just talking about the game, how little conversation was happening on Twitter today after the game. And that kind of got me thinking as well about where we stand as supporters and where this team actually sort of fits into, you know, the love we have of the game. I'm not going anywhere. and I'm sure a lot of you that view this on a regular basis are not going anywhere either. You're in for the long haul. I think true soccer fandom is generally periods of misery broken by occasional bits of euphoria and happiness and joy when you actually win something, followed by more misery down the road. But the thing with this team right now is that there hasn't been, other than the Voyageurs Cup, other than the exemplary run in the Champions League last year, there hasn't been enough euphoria to break the misery up enough to keep as many people interested in what's happening with this team as they probably should have at this point. Fans are drifting away. It's really that simple. A lot of fans in the supporter section, and I'm not calling out anybody in the supporter sections, far from it. I'm in that section myself, but I know supporters that have multiple tickets, for example, that are having a hard time giving them away, not selling them. We don't see scalpers hardly anymore outside of BMO Field. That's because scalpers can't sell the tickets. The stadium is not sold out. It never is. It doesn't look that way to me, and I wouldn't want to hazard a guess as to the poor television numbers. The only thing that's going to change this is going to be winning on a consistent basis, being competitive on a consistent basis, home and away. I think the pragmatic approach that Paul Mariner was brought in to actually take with this team, at least in the starting 18, is the way to go. Players appear to be playing for him, but this team has to be improved, and it has to be improved soon. There has to be something in the second half of the season that fans can sort of look at and say, okay, I'm willing to give this team mulligan number 5, and let's try for season mulligan number 6, I should say, and let's try and see what we can do in year 7. We're not making the playoffs. The Champions League is going to be extremely difficult because of the setup this year. Catching Philly and catching Montreal is going to be exceedingly difficult as well. Not impossible, but going to be difficult. Getting out of the league basement is going to be difficult at this point. But there has to be some sign of improvement on a consistent basis over and above what we've actually been seeing recently. And I think that speaks to what Jason was talking about on Twitter today. The misery, the collective misery that has been Toronto FC in Major League Soccer over the last 5.5 years is driving fans away. And the only way to bring them back is to start winning soccer games. It doesn't get any simpler than that. Wednesday there's going to be an opportunity to play a Canadian rival, the Vancouver Whitecaps. There's a rivalry there. There's a dislike there. They've already seen each other, of course, in the Voyageurs Cup earlier this year. They saw each other a few times last year. Vancouver is currently in the playoffs right now. They're a much better team than they were last year. And arguably them losing the Voyageurs Cup this year was a bit of an upset. So I think TFC is going to have their hands full on Wednesday with Eric Hasley and company. But I hope against hope, for my sake and for my mom's sake, that they actually can pull something out and get this turned around. Maybe a little bit of home cooking and sleeping in their own bed after a week down in the hot, sweaty United States is actually going to help them. So that's it. Again, not much optimism here today because we didn't really see anything to be significantly optimistic about. Let's hope that some rest, some relaxation, and some home cooking can get them turned around. Thanks very much for watching, and you guys have a good week. I'll have another video blog up on Wednesday after the TFC game, Wednesday against the Vancouver Whitecaps. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you soon. Cheers.